post-game. I think that was the 49th session of, I want to say 49th, might have been 50th, of Storm King's Thunder. The reason it is that high is because I'm counting the first levels 1 to 5 where they played through Lost Mines of Phandelver. So we're not that far behind. Really cool session tonight. They were in the Eye of the Allfather, which is a giant-sized dungeon. I definitely feel like the dungeon itself is a really cool concept, and I feel like there was some cool stuff that happened in it. But ultimately, I do feel like it was a pretty big missed opportunity. There was a lot of opportunities where they could have done like Honey I Shrunk the Kids style stuff, and they did not. So yeah. Uh, Also, I'm running it through Roll20, and the way Roll20 had it set up was every tile was 10 feet to maybe save room on resources or whatever, system resources. By the time I get everything like fixed and realigned, it did create like this very grand, like huge dungeon, which had a very like Honey I Shrunk the Kids vibe, where we're so tiny and the dungeon's so big. Um, but the map itself was so bland and kind of uninspired that there could have been so much cooler stuff. That being said, I think they had a good time. They were very impressed by the room full of big giants. So that was cool. And by big giants, I mean there's a room with like an 80-foot tall statue of the boss of all the giants, and Anam, or and then surrounding him were like 6 other statues of the gods of the 6 different types of D&D basic giants. So that was really cool, and they definitely were impressed by the scope of the dungeon and the size of the dungeon. They picked the right door right away, and they got to go fight. A Remoraz. Um, just like the other encounter, they had it just out there on the map. Like the Remoraz was just sleeping in the corner. Um, Not very exciting to spend like many combat rounds with a monster having to slowly burrow its way towards the party, but you know, like it's a giant dungeon. I guess it's a little hard to design encounters for a giant dungeon. It's hard to think in that scale. Um, I did spice things up a little bit. I added 2 smaller Remoras to the fight that weren't supposed to be there, mostly to keep their Uthgart allies busy, and mostly because they've got a party of 6 with an NPC ranger, with an NPC giant, and 1 Remoraz would have gone down super fast. Either way, Remoraz is a terrifying monster to face, especially at 7th level. It's just a one-hit, you're done situation for the most part. They had a good time with it. Uh, Remoraz again, super exciting monster. So even with a giant ally, they were sweating it. They played smart, climbed up to high ground to avoid the creature burrowing up and pulling them beneath the earth like Tremors style. And they gained access to the inner sanctum. I did have a couple of close calls where like dynamic lighting kind of screwed up, and I maybe spoiled like a huge thing. Everyone's saying that nothing got spoiled, so I'm just gonna believe them. But I definitely have to check the stream recording before I put it up on YouTube to make sure that I didn't accidentally reveal some crazy stuff. I think giving them a week to think of their last question for the Oracle is pretty smart, because they asked really good questions with the first 5 questions they had. So having that last question carry so much weight is pretty exciting. So they'll have a whole week to plan out what that question's going to be. They also got a big reveal tonight. They heard the name Imrith, so for the first time. So now they know that there is someone spying on them, though they do not know the means by which that is happening. And they know that they are probably a dragon. But beyond that, they don't know. All of that just means that next session is going to be absolutely ridiculous. So I am very excited for next week. I do have a little bit of prep I have to do for it. I don't want to say too much about what it is, but next week, crazy cool stuff's about to go down. So you may have heard mixed things about Storm King's Thunder. I think it's a really great campaign. I think it's one of the better Wizards of the Coast campaigns. But I will tell you that it has taken a lot of skill and experience and work to make it uh, manageable. It is a lot that just gets thrown at you, and they're just like, "Here's this giant sandbox campaign. Good luck." So fortunately, we have the internet, and there's so many resources, and I have them back on the narrative track. They're about to get onto the roller coaster of narrative, and I'm very excited to see where things go from here. So, um, all right. Well, I'll catch you guys and girls later, and we will pick this up uh, next time.